this recorded. All right, so let's do a quick quiz over the week 2 words, and then let's really dive in to week 1 and 2 and make sure that we've got those down and answer any questions and get some practice there. So for the week 2 quiz, I'm trying lots of different softwares in our different book clubs and things. But if we could all either pull out a smartphone or join in a different browser or something like that, you can scan this QR code if you're using your phone or another device. If you're using just another browser or another window, you can navigate to www.kahoot.it and then enter this game pin in here. Hopefully you don't get crazy with all of my different technology things. I'm trying out which ones I actually like and that work with all of the different book clubs and things, and maybe actually subscribe to them and use them on a fairly regular basis. But I really like this Kahoot one. We'll see. It has a different font, which is not the Times New Roman, but we'll see if it works.
Cameron, I think that I need to see my screen. All I see is yours so that I can open up another browser.
Yeah. So if you
Yeah.
are you viewing Zoom in the app or like in the browser itself?
I guess it's taking up my entire screen.
Like if you push the escape key, it should minimize and not take up the full screen.
Thank you. Yeah, that worked. Okay.
Oh, that's nice. I was having the same problem.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, that works on a Mac. I haven't. Somebody told me that if you push the escape key on the PC, then it just closes out of Zoom altogether and throws you out. But on the Mac, pushing the escape key takes it out of the full screen mode.
Okay, so I'm gonna try now this www thing.
In the down at the bottom, there's a little square, and you click on that little. It's a 4 box with an X in the middle, kind of thing. And
like this little full screen.
Right, exactly. So you click on that, and we'll just the escape doesn't do anything for me, and I don't hack. So, but I have used that, and that works.
Gotcha.
So what's the game pin?
The game pin is up on your screen here. Are you still watching us? So like 781.
Oh.
1494. I love all these little characters. Those are kind of. Is that everyone?
Am I there? I mean, all I see is myself. I don't see anybody else. Is that the way it's supposed to be?
Yeah. And so do you have the ability to like have both screens just kind of side by side?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Thank you, Cameron. Sorry, I'm so slow.
No, you're all good.
Yours is cute, Darlene. Mine's a hamburger face.
But yeah. And then have we got everyone in there that wants to participate? Everyone doesn't have to if you don't want to, but and you're still able to join even when we get in with the questions here.
I hope nobody sees my score.
Well, yeah, it's going to pop up the score, but don't feel bad. We're all here. I should have put that new one, that disclaimer on there. You could put a nickname if you want. But this is I'm just testing this out. It's all amongst friends. But yeah, let's go ahead and start. So this is going to be for the week 2 words. So how would you pronounce this word? So up here on the screen, on your device or in your browser, you're going to click on red, blue, yellow, or green to lock in your answer. Does that make sense? Does anybody have questions?
So I have to click on one.
Yeah, choose how you would pronounce this Hebrew word here up in the middle.
Cameron, I'm clicking on that, but it's not eliminating the other four. Is it? Do you see that I've clicked on?
I see that we've got 4 answers so far, but I don't see like who's
Oh,
answered or anything.
Well, I clicked on it at least 5 or 6 times, but it only takes it once, right?
Yeah, it should only take it once.
Okay.
And Cameron, for some reason, I don't know if because my computer's overwhelmed, it's got a bad connection. It's just making a circle go round and round.
Okay.
So
In-
don't slow down for me because that happens with this with my connection here sometimes.
Okay.
You have to move on, that's fine. Mine might not come in because like I said, it's just going around in like a little identity crisis circle.
Yeah.
So's mine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so we've got 5 answers. Let me lock that one in. How would you pronounce this? Just a second. This is my first time actually doing it in a live. Do I want to click skip or?
Well, tell us the answer, see if we're right.
Yeah, so at least
Well,
we're getting
Yeah, it
reinforced.
should. When I was practicing this before, it was doing it for me. So Bagad is the right answer here.
Green one.
But God.
Yeah, so green should be the right answer. Oh, yeah, there we go. So skip button is where I want to go. So 3 of you got that one right. All right, so here is number 2. So how would you type this word? Now, this isn't my favorite because I really wish it was in Times New Roman font. It looks a little bit different on the screen, but how would you type the word of? All right, we've got 3 brave souls that have done it. And maybe
Okay,
it's,
I-
computer issues and stuff too. So
Here comes mine. I had to get my glasses on.
yeah, those are kind of small, huh? So this might not be the best software to use for quizzing, but I figured I'd try it out and see if it worked or not.
It's fun. Thanks, Cameron.
Yeah. All right, so I'll give you and
Mine's
start
still
going
doing,
into it.
yeah, mine's still doing the identity crisis thing, so.
Okay, gotcha. Give it just a couple more seconds. Lock that in, and the answer is red.
Oh, it is. Oh yeah, I can see it is now. Oh shoot.
Mhm. Yeah, and I should probably go over like why. So
Uh-huh.
we're either going to use a patah or a kamatz underneath the aleph, and we're going to make sure that it is a vet instead of a bet. So we don't want the little ball inside, and we want to make sure that it has that vowel underneath the aleph. All right, so for number 3. So how would you pronounce this word? The initial time limit on each of these was 10 seconds. And I was like, oh my gosh, there's no way that I could do that in 10 seconds. Trying to look at a word and hurry and sight read it. So I put it to its maximum, but it's a little long.
No, it's just perfect.
All right. So
Is this an actual spelling of a Hebrew word?
yeah, so all of these are
Oh, cool.
actually Hebrew words.
Oh, awesome.
So all of these ones down here, those are just how I'm transcribing it into kind of English sounds. So the things aren't really colors, but everything that's up here in the quiz are actual words.
Why did they put that's awesome. Why do they put an aleph at the end? If it's silent.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So we'll learn all of the different grammar rules on when we would learn all of those. But yeah, there's many times that when a word ends with a vowel sound, that they put an aleph at the end to kind of accompany it.
Cool.
It's interesting. Sometimes there's
Yeah.
an aleph and sometimes there's that yod, right? As we learned in week 2 with the harik. The harik often has that yod after it. And so words can often end in an aleph or a yod. But
Cool. That's cool. Thank you.
yeah, so let's give just a couple seconds if that's coming in still. And it is blue. So everybody got that one right. Sweet.
Oh, I even got that one right. That's a job.
All right. So how would you pronounce this word?
Can you tell us what these words mean when we're done?
Uh-huh. Well, some of them. I know some of the last one, which was what?
Alba.
Abba. So Abba means father. I'm actually not sure what Gadi means, but I just give you the answer. That was a way to trick me.
Got him.
So yeah,
But by this
three of
time,
you got it
you've
right.
already plugged it in.
Oh, it said my answer streak is lost times up.
Oh shoot. All right.
So is that, you say that's a real word? What does it mean? Or do you not know?
I'm not sure. Let me Google it while you're doing this next one.
Wait, can you go back to Abba and why there is 2 B's? Why isn't it just ABA?
Oh, like in my English version of it down here. So I did that just because that's how most English speakers write it when we're talking about Abba in the scriptures. But yeah, if we're just transcribing it just directly, it wouldn't need 2 B's. So yeah, that's a good catch. That's just kind of debatable. You can write it with just a single one if you'd like.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So that last word, the Gadi, is in Hebrew, it means fortunate. Yeah, I really should do my homework on all of these so that I
Oh, no,
can
it's
have
fine.
those on the tip of my tongue.
Cameron, while we're finishing answering here, do you study regularly in Hebrew? Like the Hebrew Bible?
I'm starting to.
Okay, cool.
I've only had like 2 or 3 months under my belt of just kind of getting into it and stuff. So
Gotcha.
I'm finally starting to be able to somewhat sight read because I now know the alphabet and can kind of sound out words as I'm going along. But I've really liked, and I'll show this resource. I mean, I can show it this week too. I was planning on it next week of where you can have the Hebrew Bible read to you so that you can just start immersing and hearing it regularly. I find that that's really helpful so that when I go to sight read that I practice it and I go, oh yeah, I have heard that word before. I don't know what it means, but I have heard it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah,
That's
it takes quite a while to be able to like sight read a word and know exactly what it is.
Mhm.
But one of the fun exercises that we'll do here in a couple weeks is taking a look at the names of the 12 tribes, and you start sounding it out and oh, that's how it's spelled, and so you can kind of take a look at that throughout the Old Testament and things. It's really fun.
Cool.
Does the church library read in Hebrew? Can you get that Hebrew?
Yeah, not from our church because we have that Israeli agreement there, but there are people that have transcribed the Book of Mormon into Hebrew. I've got a copy of that. And with the Hebrew Bible, I'll show you which one. There's a free resource where it's very it's one of the most awesome resources. Yeah, I'll save that for a second, but I'll show you how to access it and have it read to you. It's really cool. All right, so this one is Tavi. So let me show the media on that. So Tavi, and then that aleph is silent at the end. So so Tabi, we want to make sure that it doesn't have that dagesh in the middle there.
Oh yeah, that was my bad. Oops.
No, you're good. All right. So how would we type this word? Tashiv.
You mean type, you mean put into,
Yeah. So how would which Hebrew letters would we use to make this from English sounds into an actual Hebrew word?
What is the difference on the bottom, the green and the yellow?
Yeah. So here we have a tav. This one has a patach underneath, or kamatz, sorry. And this one has a patach. And then, oh, this was the trick question that I put in there. I should have put that up at the top. So this one is a sheen, and this one is a seen. So the dot over the top of it, we want to make sure that it's over the
So
right.
it's on the other side. Okay.
Is that, can you remind us if that's part of the letter or if that's part of the vowel?
So the vowel is there underneath, and the dot on top is distinguishing two different consonants.
Okay.
So this one is pronounced sh, and this one is just pronounced with an S. S.
Okay.
Yeah, so this one is a trick question because we haven't even learned that yet. Yeah, so everybody got that one right. All right, two more questions and then we'll be done. How would you pronounce this word? And hopefully you're starting to kind of recognize this one because this is one of the main, well, a main variation on a word that we'll use a lot. All right, I'm guessing 4 is kind of like our max here, if anybody's wanting to lock in really quick. All right, so everyone got that one. Bashavat. All right, last question. How would you write this word? Gog. All right, just a couple more seconds. All right, so this one is the green here. So let's see. Versus the blue. All right, so with the green versus the blue, we have a ah sound underneath this one, and we have an e sound underneath this one, and it's kind of hard to tell because they're really small. But the blue one just has a dot underneath the first. I want to say gog. What's the word? Aleph bet.
Gimel.
Gimel. I have to go through my Aleph bet song. But yeah. So for Gog, it would be that green version there. All right, so it's going to go through a podium. I don't know if anybody wants to do this, but Darlene's in third. Susie's in second. And I wasn't keeping track. And Laura's in first. Good job. Sweet. All right, so yeah, I'll try to figure out some different things. We'll see if we use that one again, but I really wish it had Times New Roman. So I'm going to try to figure out a way that it can have that so that those answers are a little bit bigger to see. But yeah, so what kind of questions do you have from weeks 1 and 2 that we can kind of dive in and answer? Would you like to go over some of the worksheet, or yeah, just where are we at before we move on? Because today we've got quite a handful of new things to talk about. So we want to make sure that we're, like everybody said, that we're going at a good pace, and need to stop and review and get things cemented.
So on the worksheet, exercise 1, number 8.
Yeah, let me bring that up on the screen really quick. And is this the English version going to Hebrew, or the other way
English,
around?
yeah, eat.
Right. English, let's see.
Am
And
I on the wrong one? Let me see.
oh, sorry, was this week 1 or 2?
So it doesn't say that on the worksheet. So I don't know.
Yeah, I needed to just put those in numbers here. So does it have that little olive at the top?
So it
Worksheet.
just says the olive at the top. No, it doesn't have that. So was it week 1 then?
Yeah, let me just open up both of them so I can
Like,
go.
what is that? How would you do eat?
Tab. Oh yeah, I'm seeing it there. So for number 8 there. So this is week 2.
So the E is the olive with a, I don't know, and then a T with a thing underneath it. I don't know. How do you write that?
Yeah, let me. I don't know why I keep clicking the wrong thing here. Okay, get into a blank one for eat. Times New Roman. Okay, so for eat, it starts with a vowel sound, right?
Mhm.
And so we're going to do an olive. And then the
A
E
line under it?
sound.
A dot under it.
Is going to be that. And we can even do a yod if we want to. E, and then t.
A T with an A underneath it, or a
No, so it's just going to be just a T without anything underneath it, just because that eat doesn't have another vowel. So if it was like ET or ETA or something like that, but it just ends with that hard T there.
So what is the A sound? There's no A sound?
No. So that's one thing that with all of the worksheets, we're just going off of sounds. We're not trying to go letter by letter and
Okay.
make sure
That's
that
where I
they're
messed up
equivalent.
then. Okay.
Yeah. So we're just going the E, t, and so just by sounds here.
So no line.
That's one thing that I need to clarify in my instructions on the worksheets themselves, to not go letter by letter. So that's a really great feedback there.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I was going on the slides from last week, I see Gimel without a dot, and then on the quiz, I thought I saw Gimel with a dot, and I thought I saw the letter that says I can't remember its name. Forgot its name. I thought I saw it with a dot 2 in the middle of it.
Oh,
Maybe I couldn't see the quiz very well. Was that just something with the font on the quiz? Oh,
No, so the actual word, so since I'm using real Hebrew words now, I'm putting
Okay.
exactly how they should be. But we haven't really learned any of that grammar, right?
okay.
So for example, this was on the quiz, Gog, and it
Yeah.
has that dagesh in there. But from the slides, we learned that there's only 3 different letters or 3 different consonants rather, that the dagesh actually changes how we would pronounce something.
Right.
And so with Gimel, that dot's there, but it doesn't change any pronunciation. But when we do see that word, Gog, that first Gimel does have a dagesh in it. That's the proper Hebrew way to write that word.
Okay, I had forgotten that from last week. Thank you.
So you totally lost me on that one.
Yeah, so let's bring up the slides from last week really quick, and we can
And
kind
we're
of
gonna
talk
just say
about
you're like the most patient person ever. Thank you so much.
I know. If you would see me in the MTC, like I was so lost, and I just wish that they would have spoken English to me and explained things. But I finally got it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, gotcha." But yeah, when we're learning languages, it's all about being patient and making sure that we've got this. All right, so here's our slide from week 2. So there's a difference between the dots in the middle of a consonant and below a consonant. And so all of our vowels are typically listed below the consonants, and those are the ones that are going to provide different sounds. There's a thing called a dagesh that is, it's not to be confused with vowels, but it's going to appear in the middle of the consonants. So there's little extras that can go below, there's little extras that can go in the middle, and there's little extras that can go on top. The vowels are below, the dagesh are in the middle, and we probably won't even go fully there, but cantillations and different things are located above. So the dagesh do not really do anything at this point. As far as we're concerned, they're just there to look pretty. They're like a freckle on a face that, I mean, it's there, but we're going to learn about the nuances to it later on. So these are just beauty marks for now, except in 3 different cases. So between vet and bet, it actually changes how we pronounce the consonant. And then in
But
coming
that
Mhm.
always has the dot. That's how you know it's a B, right?
correct, yeah.
Okay.
And so there's just 3 that we're going to worry about in our time here in our 7 weeks or whatever, that these actually change the way that these are pronounced. So vet is a V and bet is a B, but gimel without a dagesh and with a dagesh is just pronounced the same. It's just a gimel with a beauty mark for now. When we start looking at chaf and kaf, one is guttural. It's that back of the throat sound, and kaf is going to be like candy. And then when we look at fe and pay, one is an F and one is a P sound. So there's only 3 consonants that their beauty mark actually changes the way that they sound. And so there's vowels below, there's
And not to
dagesh.
interrupt, but could
Mhm.
you do the one that had the back in the throat sound? Could you review that one more time?
Yeah. So we'll do that. I think that's actually what we're doing today. If I'm not mistaken. But haf and kaf are these 2 letters right here. They just look kind of like a backwards C. So haf is the one that has no mark, no dagesh in it, and then kaf actually has that dagesh. It has a kind of a harsher sound because it has that ball in its mouth, kind of a thing.
Oh, okay.
Cute.
That's a good description.
Yeah, that's cute. I like that.
Yeah, in I think it's the blue Hebrew book or whatever. I think it talks about it's either a ball in its mouth or a piece of candy in its mouth. But anyway, it helped me kind of remember that it has a harsher sound because it has that in there. But yeah, so chaf and kaf, fe and pay, vet and bet. So yeah, does that make sense with the dagesh?
Mhm.
We have vowels below, dagesh in the middle, and then there's sometimes things up top that we're not going to worry about unless we're singing the Hebrew. But yeah, any other questions from the homework or any of the slides, different concepts that need clarified?
Cameron, I still can't on my Mac laptop hit the function key and have it go between the 2 keyboards,
Huh.
even if I do it repeatedly.
Yeah, it's just not working there. So let me screen share and look in the different settings and see if any of this helps out. So when you go clear up to the very top and like you're going to toggle the two keyboards, if you click on Keyman and you go down to the configuration, let's check out and see if there's any options here. Actually, that's probably not going to help us. Let me screen keyboard. Open keyboard settings. Input sources. Oh, okay. Yeah. So it kind of depends on what version of the Mac OS you've got, but like I was showing you up here. So if you're going to toggle the keyboards and open up your keyboard settings, let me know once you're there.
Hold on.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay,
All right, so once you're in your keyboard settings, there's going to be something that looks like this. It says press the little globe key, which is the function key. You're going to assign it a specific function, and you want to have it so that it changes your input source. That setting is usually there by default, but sometimes it gets changed, and so this
am
is.
I under the Keyman or the US?
It should just be in general, just in your general keyboard settings.
Okay, I've got it open. And then I'm going to go where?
So are you looking like it is on my screen here with the keyboard settings? Okay. And so press the function key, or it has like that little globe looking thing. Do you see a setting that has that in it?
No.
Are you able to screen share with me? Let me see if I've got my settings. Let me stop screen sharing. Stop share. Let's see. All right. So yeah, we'll cover that a little bit later when we'll stop the recording and then we can go in and try to screen share, and so I can take a look at your settings and find that real quick. But
All
yeah.
right.
Let's see. So any other questions before we kind of dive into some of the new letters and things tonight? Not all right. You asked for it. Now we're going to go into it. Just a second. Let me pop down here. So there are quite a few different letters this week, but like everyone expressed, that we're going a little bit too fast. So here's kind of the overview of what we were kind of expecting to learn all of these letters in the 7 weeks. But I'll revamp that and come up with a little bit better system. So we're going to take a little bit different look at some of these new letters here. As we, let's see, I want to revamp just a second. Let me go back. So let's actually learn all of these letters, but I'm going to revamp the actual worksheet so that it's only for focusing on like the first half, I think. So yeah, so here we have hey, which is this one. I need to put a little bit more spacing in here. There's hey, vav, zayin, het, tet, yod, chaf, kaf. So you're going to see 2 of those kind of guttural sounds coming out this week, those typical Hebrew things that people are always thinking they've got a lot of phlegm. So our new letters, the hey looks like a house with a hole in the side, as opposed to this het here, which has both walls fully intact. So hey and het. And so in the blue Hebrew book, it kind of shows it with like a little chimney so that smoke can come out of the hay. So the hay, the air is able to go through freely. Hay. But with het, it's choking. It's closed off. The smoke can't escape this house, kind of a thing, if that makes sense.
Okay, wait a second. How can you tell the difference between whatever you called it, and T?
Yeah, so we'll take a look at those because I've got a slide that just has those and pulls them apart. So the tav has a little toe on it. So there's het, and then tav looks the exact same, but it has like a little left-hand toe. Yeah, so it's very interesting. My first like run through of Hebrew letters, I was like, everything looks the same, especially when you start mixing in Times New Roman and like a sans serif font and stuff. And if you're just trying to write it, I had the hardest time distinguishing, especially between like Vav and like a final Zayin. Like there was, anyway, we'll get into all of those different nuances and how they look different when we're handwriting them versus the Times New Roman here. So I'm trying to make it a little bit simplified from the mistakes that I learned along the way. But yeah, we'll take a look at those in just a second. So Vav, our next letter, that second one, looks like a vanilla bean. And it said that in the blue Hebrew book. And it's like, just Google it and see. It looks like a vanilla bean. And I Googled it and I'm like, oh, like I've seen vanilla beans before, but I didn't think they actually look like that. And you Google them and they look just like a Vav. All right. Zayin looks like a zipped up zipper. So if this is like the little latch on a zipper, it has been zipped all the way up. So a zipped up zipper. Kind of revisiting het, it looks like a house without a hole. And then this one, I'm trying to use alliteration, so you kind of have to stretch it for a teapot, but this is a teapot with a little tail on it.
And what is the name of that one? I didn't catch that.
Tet, T-E-T.
Okay, and what are the sounds that these make?
Yeah, so we'll cover those in the next slide. Yeah, so hey is a H as in house, house. So there's kind of just a little bit of difference in between hey and het. So, and then you just kind of got to get that guttural sound with these two. This one's pronounced just like a V that we're used to, and this one just like a Z that we're used to. And then tet is pronounced as in tail. And so we've got tav and tet that both sound the same.
Wait, say what you said again?
Tet, this new letter here. And then our very first week, we had the word tav, or the letter tav, and they're both pronounced the same. And we have a
Right.
slide that goes through those sounds here in a second.
Okay.
Yeah, this week's a lot. So that's why we've got it recorded and you can go back and watch it and stuff. But yeah, I'll slow things down. But I'm going to kind of throw these ones at you really quick, just because that's what my lesson plan was. But keep in mind, the homework will only have a modified version of this so that we're not having to totally memorize all these all at once. All right, but we're not done. We've got 3 more consonants. So we've got these 3 here. So yod, which we've kind of looked at before, how it's used in conjunction with some vowels. This yod looks like a little young baby yawn. I don't know. That's how they put it in the blue book, and it helped me kind of memorize it. So, and then here's the difference between chaf and kaf. So one has a piece of candy in its mouth and one doesn't. So the one that has the piece of candy is a pronounced k, as in candy, versus the other one that has the guttural sound as in bach. And then yod is pronounced y, as in yawn. All right, and if it's not too much, we're going to throw in one vowel this week. So this is the zere. And it is very much like the hirik that we used last week, but this one has 2 dots underneath instead of just 1. So zere is pronounced a, as in hey. And so I've got this next slide. Don't worry about memorizing everything on it right now, but I thought that it would be handy to help learn what we're looking at and what kind of our roadmap is with the vowels. So I found that I'm using this one all the time as I'm preparing slides and all this kind of stuff. I actually printed this one out and I've got it there available on Learning Zion and in the emails, so that you can print this one out too. So this is all of our vowel sounds. And so if we look at it from left to right here, it follows the same sounds that we learn when we're learning our vowels in English. A, E, I, O, U. A, E, I, O, U. And they each have 2 different variations on them, except for this eh. It just has the one, it has a little 3 dot here.
Can people see the ooh? I just see the picture of everyone who's in the class. Can I move that?
Oh, yeah, you should be able to click and move those people around so that they're.
That's fine, thank you.
And so those are our vowels. And then below here, we have what our dagesh is, that sometimes it's located in the middle of a consonant, and it's a modifier for now. That's all we need to really know about it. And then our shava is a silent pause. So we'll look at the nuance when we actually learn the shava and learn how to use it properly. But the shava can be used in conjunction with any of these vowels. So there will be some times when you'll see a patach with 2 dots to the right of it, or you might see a shava following a tzere or following a hirik. So you're going to see like 3 dots in that kind of a case. So anytime that you see vertical dots like this, know that it's a pause. Anyway, I'll explain that at a further point when we have examples on the screen that you can actually take a look at, but just don't worry about it for now. But when we're starting to kind of sight read some Hebrew, you might see those and go, oh, where are those at on the vowel chart? I don't see those anywhere. And so I included it here so that you would know what that means and looks like. All right, so let's take a look at, I'm going to skip some of our other practice things, but let's take a look at what looks similar. So here's some similar printed forms that we've mostly got so far. We haven't covered resh yet, but all of these three, He, Het, and Dalet, all start with a Dalet when we're writing them. As you can see, all of them have that upper top with that kind of a kinked neck as it comes down. So Dalet is kind of the base when we're writing that form. And then Het comes off of it with a full left leg. And He just has the bottom half of that leg. Does that make sense? And then when we're looking at Resh and Dalet are very different in this font, this Times New Roman, right? So instead of having a kinked neck, it just goes straight down. It's more of a right angle kind of looking thing. And Tav incorporates that Resh and comes down kind of like the Het does, but it has that left kicking toe there. And so Het and Tav are often mistaken for each other. But if we look at their form, a Het is formed with a Dalet, and a Tav is formed with a Resh shape. I mean, those letters don't sound anything like each other or anything like that, but when we're writing them out, that's how we can kind of tell the difference between them. All right, and so the difference between Zayin, Vav, and Yod, especially when we get into like sans serif fonts, these ones get really tricky to distinguish between because they're all just straight lines. So the Zayin has kind of a curly or curved, sorry, not curly, a curved vertical line with that top part there. And that vertical line goes right in the middle. Versus the Vav, it's kind of like an abbreviated Resh. So it comes over just ever so slightly and then straight down. And then Yod just basically is the top hat with like a little curly underneath. And then as we've learned with our Dagesh, we've got Vet and Bet, Chaf and Kaf. The Dagesh is a modifier there that changes the sound of those. So all that makes sense.
About fonts, do they change fonts then, like for graphic design when they're writing in Hebrew?
Yeah, for sure. So like when I was doing my quiz earlier, that Kahoot software only uses a sans serif, and so it just looks a little bit different. And so yeah, let me show you really quick what like Zayin, Vav, and Yod look like in when we're working in something like that. Let me. Okay, so I'm going to type them in that same order. So Zayin, Vav, and Yod. That same thing, but done in an Arial font. Zayin, Vav, and Yod.
Ooh.
Like Vav and Yod like threw me off for so long. Like, especially when it's on like a little screen. I'm like, okay, how tall is that vertical line? It was very very off-putting. I don't know. Anyway, so
what
difference
font
between,
is
like,
the top one?
Times New Roman. So that's the one that we just kind of grow up with and just go with that one. Times New
So I
Roman.
think they should have a law that they can only use one font.
Yeah. But yeah, like Facebook, any modern software typically uses a sans serif, and so it makes it really hard to learn the Hebrew things and stuff with. Anyway, I wish we could like change fonts in some of our most popular programs.
Hey, Cameron, on our keyboard you gave us when we push for Yav or Vav, the W key.
Yes. Yeah, the W key is that Vav.
All right, thank you.
And then Zayin is that Z, and then Yod is Y. So Vav is the one that kind of changes since we've got that sheen and seen down there on that V key already. But yeah, all right. So let's take a look at the written form. Like if you're just writing this on your paper, kind of taking a look at the difference between resh, het, hey, and tav. So we don't have some of the curviness of the type there, but if we're drawing a resh, it's just a right angle pretty much. The top can be a little bit shorter in length than the vertical, but it's basically just a square. And then with het, I need to get my guttural going. The left leg is brought in just ever so slightly so that it has that top little tail off to the side. Hey, het and hey are like my nemesis because I'm always trying to do the guttural sound when I'm not supposed to be doing it and forgetting what anyway, from Spanish, it's kind of hard to get used to these het and heys. So the hey, is the same as het, except it just doesn't connect at the top there. And then tav looks almost identical to het, except for that left kicking toe. And then the difference between haf and kaf versus vet and bet is that vet and bet have the base extending past to the right versus haf and kaf that do not. They're just kind of that backward C. And then taking a look at vav and yod, it's all about the difference in height of the vertical line. Yod is just that tiny little square. It's like a mini resh, but vav takes that and goes all the way down. Zayin is the fancy one. It has a little tipped top hat. All right, so now let's take a look at similar sounds. So what we've learned so far, there's a couple more that we could add to this slide, but we haven't learned those consonants yet. We have tet and tav, and they're both pronounced t as in toy. We've got het and chaf, and they're both that guttural sound, the ch as in bach. And then we have vet and vav, and they're both pronounced v as in volley. So that might seem really silly, but if you look at it in English, we have very similar sounds and different things as well. People look at us and go, oh my gosh, all of the grammar rules and silliness that English has. It's the same with any language. We all have our nuances and things, and we're going to learn that some consonants are only compatible with certain vowels, and you would write a tet in one circumstance where you would use a tav in another. But that all comes down to grammar. But when we're sight reading, as long as we know the sounds, then we can just go, oh, okay, that's how it sounds, and that's that word, and kind of get used to them. It takes a while, but just knowing how these are looking and being different and how they're sounding similar. So how was that? Is that really overwhelming? But yeah, let's take a dive into the worksheet just a little bit and just kind of get a little bit of practice with some of these consonants. Again, when I've got the full homework on the site right now, but give it, I'll work on that tonight after class, and then we'll modify that so it's not as intense. There's not going to be as many questions, or it's only going to be covering half of those. So let me screen share. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these English words and transposing them into Hebrew here. So how would we write the sounds of the word cave? So we've got a k, it's a hard K sound. So what Hebrew letter would have that? Does anybody remember what that one's called?
One with the candy in the mouth.
Yep, yeah, kaf. So there's haf and kaf, and we were wanting the kaf. So this one, if you're using the Hebrew keyboard, it's the letter K is going to produce that one for us. So it's that hard k sound. And then, so instead of taking it letter by letter and trying to find its equivalent, we're just looking for sounds. So K. So what is that A sound? That's going to be our new vowel this week, right? And that's that double dot underneath. Cave. The is going to be just by itself. It's not going to have another vowel with it, even though the English word here has that E. But cave is just going to have, whoops, sorry, a vet. Cave. Let me start numbering these. All right, so number 2, 8. So it has a beginning with a vowel sound, right? And so we're going to use our aleph. A is that new vowel, the double dot, and let's put a yod this time to accompany it. A tav. We could likewise do an aleph just with the double dot and do a tet, because we have 2 different Hebrew consonants that have that t sound. So as for now, they could be interchangeable as we're just trying to make sounds. Does that make sense? All right, let's do vague. We're going to be using a vet and a. Going to use that double dot there. And then how would we do a g sound? That's going to be from week 2.
Gimel.
Gimel.
Gimel. Yep. Vague. It could also be double dot with a yod and a gimel. Vague. All right, so shave. Sh is going to be our sheen. A is going to be our new tsere vowel. Shave. V is going to be that vet. Likewise, it could be with a yod and a vet. All right, let's do one more. So aid, it begins with a vowel. So we're going to use our aleph. A is that new tsere vowel. A, d. D is going to be our dalet from last week. Aid. Likewise, we could do aleph, tsere with a yod and a dalet. Hopefully that's making sense. I won't give you all of them, and then we can take a look at those rest next week. Again, as I modify the homework, I'll try to get some more examples in there too, with a modified version of the consonants. So let's go to exercise 2. So in exercise 2, all of these are actually actual Hebrew words. So let's take a look at number 1. Here we see that dagesh with the dalet, but it doesn't change the pronunciation. That's only with bet and vet and haf and kaf so far. So dalet is going to be a D sound, and it has a kamats underneath, right? So da, ga, and that's our new hey. And so it doesn't have that guttural sound, or else we would do a. So this one is just the ga. Right, number 2. So we begin with our hey, and it has a kamats underneath. So ha. Then we have an aleph with a kamats. So the aleph is silent, and so it has a kind of a break, a ha, av, ha-av. All right, this number 3 has a da sound. Again, it has that dagesh, but that doesn't do anything for us as of now. And then that vav here is one of our new ones.
C,
Yeah,
With-
and
E underneath that.
that hirik from last week is our E sound. And then that last consonant is a dalet. So David. There you got our first proper noun, or proper noun, right? Our first name that we can recognize. David. This is how we would say like King David, David. That's his name. All right, number 4. We've got a gimel, and that gimel has a dagesh in the middle, and so does the zayin, but those don't change the sound for now. So we got gimel with a chirik underneath, the E sound, gi. Then we have that zayin, that zipped up zipper, right? And that has an ah sound. And then it ends with a che. Hey, sorry. I need to not do my guttural on that one. So Giza. Have you ever heard of Giza?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it's written.
Hmm.
All right, number 5. So we're starting off with an aleph, and so we're going to be starting with a vowel sound. And this is our new tsere. So how is that one pronounced? We have our
The A.
A. And then that yod is accompanying it. So that is part of that. Tsere. And then dalet. Aid. Aid. So that one's kind of interesting, right? Because I'd it it's just one word, but it's kind of an interesting sound that kind of has a little break in it, right? Aid.
Where do you get the break at? And what does that mean?
Yeah, so it's if we're just pronouncing a so that zere, right? The a sound, aid.
Yeah, where do you get the E? Where does the E sound come in? I.
So looking at tsere is pronounced A as in day. So aid. So we could pronounce this as just aid, but in Hebrew, this is going to be aid. It kind of has this little pause in it, but it can be either or for now. Until we learn some of those grammar things, because we haven't got there yet. So aid or aid.
Is that the same principle like with a goat?
With a goat.
I
What?
is.
Oh,
Animal.
yeah,
Is it? Oh,
kind of, yeah. Eyes.
uh-huh.
It threw me off there. I was like, what's a goat? Okay, yeah. All right, so let's kind of skip down to some of these other harder ones. It's like doing like number 9. Right, number 9, we've got a dollet. Ah. And then we've got our hirik, which is that E sound. Dait. So this one is kind of sounding a little bit like that number 5 that we did, the I. So for number 9, da, eat, dait. All right, number 10, we've got our g sound. And then our tere. So a as in day. So gave, because we have that vav, gave.
Is that a word? These are all-
Yeah,
These
these
are
are all
words.
Hebrew words. It doesn't mean to give or anything, but I actually don't know what it means.
Okay.
It's an actual Hebrew word, gave.
I was kind of playing with the Google camera translate.
Mhm.
And sometimes it can pick up, I don't know, I guess if it's not real close to something else, you can. Let me see if it will do this. Anyway,
Mhm.
they're too close.
Oh, whoops. I put in, yeah, so forget number 19. I'll make sure to take that one out because that's a new vowel. We haven't learned that one yet. We've barely learned all of the ones that we did tonight. Let's do. Oh, yeah, number 27 is going to be fun. I use fun in a loose way, right? All right, so this one is our new letter of het, right? So we're going to have a, whoops, make sure I'm over here. So ha, and then we have a D, dolent, and then we have our hirik, which is an E, and then it ends with a dollet. Hadid.
Indeed.
Let's try to find a couple more that incorporate that. Oh, let's do number 29. That one's also a fun one. All right, so we've got just a H sound, not the guttural, but ha. And then we have an ah sound, ha. And then a B. And then our new tzere, which is a. Chabait. Let's do some of these Z ones. So like number 33. All right, so we've got our Zayin.
Can you go back up to 29? I need to take a picture of this one, sorry.
Yeah, for sure. And with our homework, the way that it's set up, when I think it was Betty, right? Yeah. So Betty wrote me and said that she's like, "Where's the answer sheet?" And for worksheet 2 and everything, I didn't have those. So I have uploaded those now. So the answers are down below. So the different variations that you can use, and for any of these sounds, you can put or see what I've put down as the answers. All right, 33. So we've got our zayin and an ah sound, za, and then we have an h, ah, and then a vet, zahav. Let's do number 38. That one's another fun one. All right, 38, we have our new chet, and we have the, all of a sudden I'm forgetting hirik. So we have our E, double E,
And a B,
and then we
and
have our B, and then the new zere sound, A.
and a S.
And so he baish. That one's probably the most challenging of all of the ones this week.
I wonder what that one means.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's Google that one really quick. This one is a binding or tying. It can be used as bandage or dressing.
Hmm.
Yeah, interesting. But yeah, we don't have to memorize that one just yet. But anyway, so how are you feeling with the homework this week? It's going to be a little bit interesting. And like I said, I'm going to modify it so that we have less consonants to worry about than I was originally planning and things. But I will work on that tonight and get that posted. Right now, the full version's on there, but I'll get that modified tonight. Yeah. Any other comments or questions or concerns, feedback? Like, how are we doing with it? The speed and things with how we are learning. If you had to take a guess of how long you would like to learn all of the alphabet, so I lined it out in a 7-week period of time. Ideally for you, what would you say is your ideal amount of class times to learn all of those?
I'll answer that one. Honestly, I was thinking about it, and learning another language can just feel overwhelming. So I think we're brand new here. We're jumping in, and adding a lot of letters this week might feel like a lot, but we're kind of jumping in and swimming. So if we still take the 7 weeks to learn all of the letters, that's fine with me, especially since we're not really trying to speak it necessarily. At least I'm not. Like, learn it, get familiar with it, be able to sound some things out, but I'm always gonna have my book there looking things up. So I think the way you have it laid out would be fine, and then we can modify it personally as we see fit. I think that would be my 2 cents.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's great that there's the videos that you can always go back and redo it. So I think just keep moving. I think you're doing good. You can always go back and pick it up on our own to watch it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I think it's easy to take a lot of time learning a language too, because I mean, there's so much learned, and I totally get it, but I think we can easily get too bogged down and not get through it. So yeah.
So with my original 7-week plan, I had that review week there. So I think I'm going to kind of rearrange some of the letters to kind of fill that, because after our 7 weeks, there's 2 weeks that are off. And I just put those as just kind of vacation days, but those 2 weeks can be like a review time for us, and we can kind of divvy up the letters and try to ease the load just a little bit. I think it's kind of what I'm thinking anyway, but yeah, like you said, with the videos, they're always going to be there, and so we can take a look at them whenever, if we need to go back and look at those. But yeah, keep letting me know if things are too much after I modify this worksheet this week, and we need to kind of slow down more and stuff. Let me know. But yeah, I'll kind of somewhat keep our pace, but revamp these kind of middle, like week 3 and 4. They're kind of heavy hitters. But yeah, any other comments or questions? We'll go ahead and say goodbye to the early group and hello to the new one. But yeah, have a great week, everyone.
Thank you so much. See you next week.
Yeah, we'll see
Thanks.
Night, everyone.
you. Night. Let me